What's going on, everybody? Super Saiyan Paul here, back at it again. Today we're going to be talking about Dragon Ball Super episode 131, and it's the episode following one of the greatest battles of all time in Dragon Ball Super 130. And the fight between Jiren and Goku is still not over yet. However, I think we've seen most of what we've expected to in episode 130 alone. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is the flaws and things that could arise in Dragon Ball Super episode 131, the series finale, the final episode of Dragon Ball Super, and what exactly you're gonna have to do in order to make this episode a success. Because honestly, with all of the things that have been given to us thus far, they've kind of set this episode up to fail in a way. Now, what we know is that there's a Dragon Ball Super movie coming out on December 14th of 2018, so that's what has our hopes up for right now. But what we know is that in this last episode here, they have 3 fighters on Universe 7 and then 1 fighter in Universe 11, that being Jiren versus Frieza, 17, and Goku. And what they have to do is take down Jiren within around 30 seconds of in-show time, so it's literally going to be half of the episode at least, finishing everything up. On top of that, recapping the previous episode and the intro, so most of the time is going to be used up there. Then they're going to have to make the wish, and then after they make the wish to whoever is granted the wish, which could be potentially, realistically, it's Frieza, 17, or Goku, but if you wanted to throw Jiren in there as well, one of these characters has to get a wish, and I don't necessarily think, I think 17 is the least likely because his is the most simplistic wish. Frieza and Jiren are the wild card, and Goku's is basically the undo button. So those are the 3 wishes that they have on the table here, and then regardless of the fact of that being done, they have to wrap up the tournament, what they're going to be doing next, the gang getting back together. They can't just leave it off with them getting the wish and calling it quits right there. That's not necessarily a finished ending, and there's a lot more things to do leading it into the movie and bridging it that way if they decide to do that. If not, they also have to leave it off in a cliffhanger, which I highly doubt, but if anything, that would either lead to a new series or the movie, and then the movie would lead us into a new series on a cliffhanger, which is what they technically did with Battle of Gods, but I digress. With these things being said, all of these things being squashed into one episode, it's not exactly enough time to finish up all of these plot points, and even if Goku revives all these characters, do we really get to see them in this small amount of time? With half of the episode being done here, with the final battle finishing up right here, it's not necessarily going to be the best paced episode, because if you looked at episode 130, they had the entire episode to show us the battle, and that was what we wanted. We saw animated movie quality battle right there in that episode, and what I liked about it was that even though they did some storytelling and a bit of them using things such as mechanics of telling the story through the eyes of the characters. Mainly throughout the episode, what I noticed was Jiren's moment where he had the story through his eyes, the flashback that haunted him and pushed him forward, and then we had Master Roshi's little flashback. I loved those type of dynamics, and I'm hoping that they find a way to utilize these type of things that tell a lot of story in such brief moments in episode 131. Honestly, guys, do you guys think they're going to be able to wrap up all of the plot points, on top of that describe what the wish is going to be, if it's not a straightforward wish? Because honestly, I think the only way they'd be able to fit it in properly is if it's a straightforward wish from either Goku or one of the Universe 7 members. Jiren, not so much, because Jiren, he's outnumbered, and the way Dragon Ball Z ended, if you guys didn't know, Goku's alive and well. So are they going to be able to bridge this into the new movie? Are they going to set this up for Goku training with Oob in the very last episode of Z? Because the final movie right here, well, not the final movie, the movie that this episode's linking into, this final episode's linking into the movie, it's gonna be a Dragon Ball Super movie, which is the first one of its kind, because Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods and Battle of Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F were technically Dragon Ball Z movies, and then they bridged that into Super by retelling the tale with some small details added. But do you guys think that they'll be able to bridge this properly? Do you guys think it's going to end off in a cliffhanger? Because honestly, there's just not enough time to do so many things. How are you going to defeat Jiren in a very satisfying way? On top of that, are they going to build upon his character in any way, shape, or form? Remember, his character is still very paper thin, but from what we got in episode 130, we saw a lot of what he's really about in a few moments, especially with him trying to take low blows and attacks at the audience, especially Goku's family and friends. And if you look at Jiren's character, it's similar to what Sasuke had, a paper-thin Sasuke from Naruto without the Itachi to guide him or anything like that, without that bond to another human being. So he's kind of like a watered-down Sasuke in my opinion, and honestly, it's almost the exact same origin in a way, and him trying to put everybody aside just for his own power because he thinks that people make him weak and that type of bond will make them weak. Well, Goku on the other hand has that Naruto type of vibe to him where he's like, these people are the ones that made me strong, and everyone knows that, and that's what Master Roshi and all of them are trying to like delve upon, was that how far Goku has come and how he's managed to change everyone, similar in the same fashion that Naruto actually did to some of the characters as well. So there's a lot of homages to some other animes. They even had a homage to Kuroko no Basket, I believe, with the eye thing. If you guys ever watched that, that's basically like Dragon Ball Z basketball. And what I want to see here is that they finish off Jiren. We know it's going to happen. Jiren has to take an L because if he wins, it doesn't really add up with what we've seen from the spoilers as well as what the movie is going to be about. If you guys didn't already know, a recap: Frieza in the spoilers is supposed to death beam Jiren when he's off guard. So with that being said, him death beaming Jiren would probably be one of the most idealistic ways and most climactic ways to end the fight. If you guys saw when Goku's body was taking its toll against the god powers, that looked like the moment Frieza decided to strike, and I was hoping for something along those lines of when Frieza does decide to strike, because if he did betray Goku, that would have been probably the most badass way to do it, and I hope they do something along those lines out of nowhere against Jiren in almost the same sort of fashion where it's just unpredictable, spur of the moment type of things, and it looks very dark. It looked like Goku's body was being ripped apart and torn limb from limb, and you saw like a huge blood splat. It was just amazing to see in the moment. So that's what I wanted to see from Frieza. However, the way things are going right now, everything's like overstuffed against Jiren. How are they going to make everything be utilized properly, have Goku come back into the fight, take the win, get Jiren out of here, take the wish, revive the universes, finish it off in a very calm and peaceful way, and then bridge this into the movie or the Dragon Ball Z ending. And there's still a lot of things to do, because if after all these characters get revived, how much time are we going to get to spend with them? And from a lot of other series finales, it's really tough to balance when you have such a climactic battle in one episode, especially with the limited time you have. I mean, if you guys really think about how much limited time they have, think about it like this. Take your average Dragon Ball Super episode, cut that in half, and now you have to use that to show us what exactly you're going with this series, because and how it's going to finish off. With all of these universes being eliminated, if they do end up being brought back, are they just going to be brought back, no one says a word, then they cut to like them going back to Capsule Corp, eating a meal or something, and then saying goodbye until we meet again? Is that how it's going to end? Is going to end on a handshake, a wave towards the camera? I think Dragon Ball Z, if you guys go back to it, Dragon Ball Z didn't necessarily have the best ending of all time, because when I look back on it, it's actually a lot of nostalgia blinding me. If you guys think about it, Dragon Ball Z ended off in a very poor note compared to GT. And yes, I am saying that. GT actually had a better ending in terms of that final moment versus DBZ. And what we saw from DBZ was that years into the future, Goku and his friends and family meet up. They go to the tournament, and remember, he didn't see them for years. He didn't see Bulma for years and stuff like that. They fell off to the face of the earth because of him. I mean, like in his head, because of all the training. And then he goes off and he trains Oob. But Oob wasn't even a developed character, things like that, and it didn't necessarily make the most sense of things and wasn't utilized to its fullest, because it was like, okay, Oob has some power, but I mean, I still prefer Vegeta being your rival and stuff like that. And then we compare it to GT, and they finished it off with Goku Jr. versus Vegeta Jr., something I would have preferred to see. And you see Goku all grown up after the series had him as a kid for so long, and only having him as an adult in Super Saiyan 4, Pan fully aged and adulted, and then him saying goodbye to the camera, and the old school voice announcer saying, "Until we meet again, Goku, farewell." And this is the story of Goku and the Dragon Balls, and flashing it back to all the way in the beginning. I honestly have to say GT did a better job than Z, and something about that ending was it was pretty well paced, I gotta say, because I think if they had an extra episode here for Dragon Ball Super episode 132, they need some time to unwind and slow things down and let us take in all of the things that just happened here, because that episode 130 fight was just like super fast paced, and afterwards everyone was super hyped. But the battle's not over yet, and some of that hype has to carry over into the next one, and immediately after the hype is over, we barely have any time to cool off, take a moment, and then enjoy everything. Everything's gonna be thrown in a very fast-paced manner at us if they do decide to really conclude the series as a whole, because it is being named the final episode, and with that, how are they gonna really conclude it as the final episode without leaving it off in a cliffhanger? I think if they left it off in a cliffhanger, it would make much more sense in terms of pacing, but I highly doubt they'd want to do that because they're going to be drawing themselves into another hole yet again with the many holes they've created for themselves in Dragon Ball Super. Also, if you guys think that there's going to be anything plot twisty, tell me in the comment section below. Do you guys think Jiren may win? If anything, do you think Frieza may win, or do you guys think Goku's going to get the wish, revive everyone, have the goody two-shoe ending, and then everything's going to be good? Do you think Frieza's going to become a good guy, win the match, and then become the good guy through the wish? Anything of that nature, tell me in the comment section below. Smash that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications. I'll be seeing you guys next time. Take care. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.